Now, today we're going to speak with one individual. He sang for the Queen, he sang for the Dalai Lama, and up until he made a decision to sing the O Canada in a controversial manner, or how some perceived to be a controversial manner, at a Major League Baseball All-Star game back in 2016, he was one of the 4 members of the Canadian Tenors. He's now about to embark on a solo career, and he's stopped by CityNews to speak and share a bit of his story. We're joined by Remigio Pereira. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Take us through what your life has been like since that day, standing at the ballpark for the All-Star game.
Oh, well, it's been pretty crazy, you know. I mean, to be promoting love and peace throughout the world through the songs that we sing and that we write, and going to various countries, you know, like Swaziland, and raising money for orphan care, and building schools with the children, and We Day. You know, we're about love and peace, you know, and at that time there was none of that going on, and it's hard to be seen as a racist when it's the furthest thing from my body. You know, I'm Portuguese. My parents are immigrants. I grew up in a multicultural neighborhood. My daughter's biracial, and it just seems like, you know, journalism today nobody does their research. If they had done any research on me, they would know what I was all about and what the message was, and so it's been difficult, you know, being labeled a racist. You phone people up in the industry that you've known for years, and you've written songs with, and you've done all these things with, and you don't get a response back. You don't get any phone calls, no texts, no nothing, and it's just like you have the plague, you know. And you know, feeling the effects of this. You know, my family as well has felt it. You know, my mother, you know, called every name in the book, smear campaign throughout, you know, all of the internet. You know, people just don't do the research. They have no idea, and I was silenced, and I wasn't allowed to speak after the incident. And had I had a moment to explain what it was all about, I think that things would have been very different for myself and the Tenors, and for everybody involved. I think you know, we need to find a way of being peaceful, and the message was never at Black Lives Matter. It was never at any minority group. The message was to the system that puts people in dire straits. And you know, we were there in a baseball field with nationalities, all different cultures, making money for the corporation, and they were well protected. You know, there were so many police officers there; it was ridiculous. But then their families are being killed in the streets. You know, and I'm not a man of violence. I'm a man of peace, and that's what we promote in our songs. And the French lyrics, that is what I was supposed to sing, and not the English lyrics. If you watch the last 500 anthems that we've done, I start singing the French lyrics. And if you know what the French lyrics mean, it's contradicting to having peace. And so if we're going to be singing anthems that sing about bombs bursting in air, well, that's exactly what we're going to have. If we sing anthems that say you carry the cross and you carry the sword, those are contradicting. If you carry the cross, you're representing, or supposed to be representing, peace. If you carry the sword, you're instilling violence over people. And to me, I don't agree with that. And it was a spur of the moment thing, you know, with everything that was going on. Alton Sterling had been killed for selling CDs on the street, and you have the Dallas police that were shot. It's ridiculous, and it's unfortunate, because, you know, the media today is pushing this type of agenda. You know, the people that get behind some of these movements, you have to question what their motives are. And it's coming out now that George Soros is behind, you know, giving $75 million to an organization. And, you know, is he really a philanthropist? I mean, the guy bankrupted the Bank of England. You know, that's how he made his money.
Let me ask you this.
So, I mean, I just want to say that, you know, if you're supporting both sides of the equation, it's a conflict of interest. It's just like if you have a president of a country that makes money off of tanks. What do you think his agenda is going to be? So people have to dig deeper and do their research and really find out what's really going on behind all this stuff.
If you had a chance to step on that field and sing that anthem again as a member of the Tenors, would you do it any differently?
I would have, I would have told the guys about it. I was just trying to protect them because, it was a last moment thing that happened. And there's so many things going through my head at the time. And I just wanted to, make a statement of peace and say, hey, we have to bond together. This is about, all of us coming together and realizing that it's not us that we have to fight. We're not fighting each other. We have to stand up to the system that is creating this type of problem. These elitists that make tons of money off of both sides. If you're making money on guns and you're supporting militant groups, it's just wrong. Everybody would know that.
You would have done it, but you would have spoken to them first about it.
I would stand up for peace all the time. I'd stand up for equality for everyone. I would stand up for the lives of animals. I'm a vegan. And I just believe that this world, people need to make better decisions, and some people might see that the anthem, changing the words of the anthem was not the best thing to do. But the people who died under the auspices of freedom, thinking that they were going to war to go and fight for people's freedom, for their families, did they die in vain? Are we at peace today?
When we hear all lives matter, there are alt-right groups that will march to that slogan. They also will have their own put on it and that say white lives matter.
I don't believe in white lives matter. I believe in everyone's life mattering, and those who wish to take 3 words that if you ask a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old what all lives matter means, they would include everyone. So there's no reason for someone to come and hijack 3 words in the English language to make it mean something that it doesn't, because then it incriminates the whole world who believes that everybody's life is important.
Then why have you been ostracized if those words were?
That's a fantastic question. I would love to know the answer to that. Unfortunately, when people have interests in creating warfare, they own the media, and then they want to twist the story to make it so that there's blood running in the streets, because when there's blood running in the streets, that's when George Soros makes his money. People like George Soros.
Let's take it back a step. You mentioned before we began this interview that the stage right behind us here at Dundas Square was one of the first stages you performed with the Tenors.
Yeah.
Take us back to moments like that and where you're at today. Do you miss those moments? What does it mean when you look at the stage and think back?
I think, was it all a dream? We sing songs about peace, about love, about harmony, being instruments of peace, and I can die knowing that I stood up for the right causes. I didn't cave to money. I didn't cave to the greed in this world. To me, it's not about the money. I really couldn't give a shit about money. It's about people's lives. That's what's important.
But money hasn't been easy to come by, you've said in recent months.
Yeah, because I've been living off of my savings, because I've been completely cut off by my own business, that I know nothing of what's going on. I have no idea what's going on with my business that I own 25% of still to this day. And so I've been living off my savings, and they're done. And so now I'm going out and trying to put on shows because nobody wants to hire a racist.
You're still you from a business standpoint, you still are 25% owner of the Tenors?
I am 25% owner of the Tenors, that's right. And it's interesting because on Wikipedia, 6 hours after the event happened, I was removed from being a member of the group, and nothing has been solved. Nothing has been resolved at all.
Have you received any money from them since July 2016?
I haven't received a phone call to see how I'm doing. I haven't received an email to see how I'm doing. Fraser had a baby. I sent him a note congratulating him and Kelly. I haven't received a response. I haven't received anything from these guys. And they go around, doing what they do.
On your Facebook page, it gets a little personal. Mm-hmm. You say that you've apologized. They say you haven't.
I have the proof. I don't have to say anything. There's 2 sides to every story, but the third side is the truth. And the third side is on the Facebook page. If you want to see it and want to hear it, it's all right there.
We asked for their comment today. They're through their publicist. They're away. We're told they're not in the country, but through their publicist, they say that the group has no comment. What's your thoughts?
Of course, they have no comment. They had no comment back then. They didn't. They want me to hide from the media. They told me don't talk to anyone. And so I didn't. I kept it completely, thinking that they were going to do the right thing. It's about doing the right thing. you know, and they knew exactly what it was all about because I explained to them, I told them everything, and it's just not good enough, you know.
What were those moments after singing the national anthem when you went back, I'm assuming, into a room at the stadium at the All-Star game? What was the conversation between the four of you at that moment?
There really wasn't much of a conversation. It was just mostly yelling and screaming and telling me off and then trying to make up excuses for, you know, why I did it, that I was off my meds and whatnot. I'm not on any meds. I'm a vegan. I live clean. I eat clean. I'm 100% conscious. I know what's going on. I study politics. I study all these things that are that are happening in this world. I'm not willing to lie. I'm not going to lie. People died, and I'm not going to make an excuse with mental health when there's tons of people with those issues, and it's not to be taken lightly, only to be used whenever you want to be politically correct.
There will be those who say, well, he's got a show coming up this weekend. Convenient time for him to come and speak to the media.
Well, I mean, when's a convenient time to tell the truth? A year and a half, almost a year and 2 months later? When are they going to come out and tell the truth? You know? Clifton posted on his Facebook page saying that, for evil to continue, good people need to remain silent and take a stand. And I just find it quite ironic that someone who seems to believe the same things I do, seems to be saying the exact same things I was saying and what I did, to be saying it behind a computer and not not walking his talk. That's just what it's about.
Why speak with us today?
I was asked to. I wasn't thinking I was going to do it, and the fans know now, and you can't hide behind your Armani suits. You can't hide behind, your fake smiles and your bullshit talk. If you sing about something, you better mean it. I'm not singing about bling bling. I'm not singing about, what I got, what we have, and all. No, we're singing about things that are important in this world, and that's what we're spreading love and peace and harmony, and that's what it's about.
There'll be those watching right now at home, on their TVs, on their iPads, on their phones, who are saying, what were you thinking changing the lyrics of our national anthem? Those that will say, they were deeply offended by that. What do you say to them?
Well, I'm saying, do you rather have bombs bursting in air? Do you rather carry the sword and the cross? Do you rather see blood running in the streets? Do you think that the lives of those that went before us, that gave their lives for the freedoms and peace of this country, did they die in vain? Why are we still fighting? Why is that still happening? I mean, people should do some research. If every country in the world can get along and agree to the Antarctic Treaty, countries that are at war with each other, everybody agrees on the Antarctic Treaty, how is it that we can't agree on peace?
You're about to embark on your first solo show.
Yeah.
Been nervous for that, how you might be received?
Of course. I was nervous after when my shows with Pablo were canceled last year. Catherine Wynne, I mean, they got all the politicians to come out and say whatever they wanted to say, against me. But I mean, Catherine Wynne, if she knew that my sister was a lesbian, I got fired. I got canned from the show in London, Ontario, who is a venue that supports, gay and lesbian, and all races and everything. Did they do their research? They didn't do their research. They jumped on the bandwagon, and that's the problem. I'm not going to jump on a bandwagon. I'm not going to lie. If we're about truth, truth is the most important thing. If we don't have that, then what do we have? Money means nothing. Love is the only currency that we have, and what you show people. Because at the end of the day, when all hell breaks loose and there's no more funds, there's nothing to go around, the only way that you're going to get something from that you might need is by how you've treated people around you. They're going to be willing to do something, or they will not be willing to do something. And it's all about love. That's all it is.
Colin Kaepernick, NFL quarterback. He
Yeah.
took a knee. He took a stand.
Yeah.
He's currently still unemployed as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you've been cast in a similar light for taking a stand for, or being misunderstood?
No, because my shirts, my jerseys weren't like the #1 selling jersey. Like, I mean, it's just funny how one side everything becomes this huge glorified thing, and then if you take, a stand that is not. It's not a stand. It's not a racist stand. It's a human stand that's saying that every life is important. You're plagued as a racist, and you're plagued as someone that is violent and God knows what, and it's a double standard. It is, because I'm not a white supremacist. That's ridiculous. I'm a human supremacist. I'm a animal supremacist. I'm a life supremacist.
Would you rethink some of the slogans or words you used that day to try and convey your message if you had a redo?
No, because I'm not going to take someone's meaning of what words that are universal. I'm not going to change the meaning of a word to make it mean something. If I say to you, I love you, all right? But someone who's told you I love you a million times has punched you in the face, been violent and all that, next time someone says I love you, you're going to have a neuroassociative conditioning to think that love means hate, when it doesn't. You can't change the meaning of words and make it and make it for your cause. All Lives Matter actually came in the turn of the century when it was about animal activism. That's what it was. It was talking about animals' lives, that every life is important. All lives matter. And it's unfortunate that the powers that be, these elitists, are using language to pit people against each other. People are peaceful, okay? There's more love than hate in this world, but unfortunately, the media, all they do is show bad news, and then they get caught showing fake news. You see people actually setting up bombs in cars and then taking off, and then a bunch of other people coming in, setting up, lying down on the ground, and then the cameras come out. What kind of the world are we living in? The people that own these corporations, the people that own all the media corporations.
Well, I'm media, and we're standing here talking with you today and letting you say your
Exactly,
side of the story in a full format.
That's right, but guess what? When I was trying to get on Q last year, when they wanted to do a talk to me, they wouldn't want to do a live interview with me because they're afraid of what I was going to say. That's why I wanted this to be a live interview.
Well, I think similar to your stance, it's unfair to paint everyone with the same brush or paint one person with a
I'm not saying that, but
brush.
unfortunately, CNN and Fox, they get caught in their own bullshit.
You've made it pretty clear, though I think some people at home would still like to hear very clearly from you what was going through your mind. You said it was a very quick decision.
Yeah.
During that quick decision, what was going through your mind when you went out in that field to make a stand?
I was shaking in my boots. I looked at my dad's wedding rings that I had on me, and I thought about all the animals that are being killed. It's one of the worst holocausts ever, is animals being killed, the way they're being treated. And I thought about, all the lives of all the minority groups that are out there that are being, taken out, and I stand up for life. I will always stand up for life. Everyone's life is important. And, yeah, it wasn't an easy thing to do, and it wasn't an easy thing to live with afterwards. And but I assume responsibility for what I did. I know my intention. It's just unfortunate that intention wasn't actually delivered in the way that it was supposed to, in a group statement from a company that I own. I had no say whatsoever in any of it. I mean, it could have all gone away if they said, you know what, yeah, we're totally angry with Remy and how we went about doing it, but he's a man of peace because we've been with him for 10 years and we know what we're all about, and we'll let him speak. But that never happened.
In closing, you have a show this Sunday. We promised to mention that as well. Tell us a bit about the show this Sunday at the winery.
Well, it's my own show now, and I'm performing almost all original music that I've written throughout the years, and what's also on my new record. I mean, this record has come to me through some of the greatest trials and tribulations of my life, and I just want to get back to making music. I don't want to be labeled a racist anymore. And I want the record to be set straight, that people know that I'm not a racist. And it was left out there for the media, and I mean, every article that you take, just read the comments. You racist scumbag, you racist this and that.
It's a lot of the public's perception too of what took place.
Who do you think is painting the public opinion? Who? I've been on planes with a lot of, some of your co-hosts and people in the media, they know. I've been to Kenya with them. Why didn't anybody speak up to say, hey, guys, you got this wrong. Remy's not a racist. Nobody did. Not one. Not one person. Why?
You felt like you've just been left out in the cold.
How would you feel if people that you've worked with for your whole life, for 10 years, you know, let you hang as a racist? You know, how would you feel?
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Peace to you, brother.
We'll have more with Remy coming up on City News at 5 and 6, and City News tonight at 11, as well as on citynews.ca.